This was disgusting. This was insulting. They refused to take responsibility for my client falling out of bed, hitting his head, and dying in their hospital. Until an entire year later, when I had an opportunity to question the nurses who were involved with his care. You want to learn what happened? And why I say this is disgusting? Come join me for a moment as I share with you some great information. Hi, I'm Gerry Oginski. I'm a New York medical malpractice and personal injury attorney practicing law here in the state of New York. This gentleman was in the hospital. He was disoriented. Now, there was a suggestion that his cancer had come back, had recurred, and now he was disoriented. So he was in the hospital getting some follow-up tests. The doctor ordered that he be put into physical restraints to prevent him from being able to get up out of bed and possibly trip, fall, and hurt himself. So what do you think happens? About 2 days after his arrival, they decide he needs a CAT scan. And after he has the CAT scan, they decide they're going to move him to another floor. And when they put him in another floor, they tuck him all in, and well, guess what? A few hours later, somebody from the hospital calls this patient's daughter and says, "I'm sorry to tell you, but your dad fell out of bed and hit his head. We think you need to come to the hospital." And the daughter says, "What do you mean he fell out of bed?" They don't have an answer for him. They don't accept any responsibility. Remember when I said the doctor ordered this patient to be physically restrained so he could not get out of bed? So then how is it possible that dad fell out of bed, hit his head, he has a subdural hematoma bleeding into his skull, in his brain, that now he's in a coma and in all likelihood he's going to die? How is that possible? The hospital had no answer. The nurses had no answer for her. None whatsoever. Ultimately, this gentleman did pass away. Very tragic. We believe that the hospital staff violated their own protocol. We believe that the hospital staff violated the basic standards of medical care. And now, during the course of the entire lawsuit, the defense refused to acknowledge that they did anything wrong. And you would think, hey, if we didn't put them in restraints, that they would simply accept responsibility. They'd own up to it. Well, guess what? They didn't. They fought it tooth and nail. So now, during the course of my question and answer session, during the pretrial testimony known as deposition, I had to pull teeth, literally, to get specific answers about who was actually responsible for carrying out this doctor's orders. The fact was that he was supposed to be in restraints and was put into restraints on the upper floor. But after the CAT scan, when they brought him back down to a new room, he was never put into restraints. And then it became a blame game. No, it wasn't my responsibility, it was hers. No, it wasn't my responsibility, it was a technician. And they kept pointing fingers at each other. And I said, you know what? That works great for me, because now you have two culprits. One nurse saying, I'm not responsible. You have the technician saying, I'm not responsible. And then they both point fingers at each other saying, each one of them are responsible. And it was shortly after that question and answer session, that deposition, where I was able to convince the defense that they had absolutely no defense, that it was inexcusable, that they had this defense saying that they did nothing wrong, because I would clearly show at trial, based upon their own testimony, that what they did was inappropriate and deviated and violated the basic standards of medical care and never, ever should have happened. Only then did they recognize they were responsible. And that's when we were able to negotiate this case and resolve it. So why do I share this quick information with you? I share it with you just to give you an insight and an understanding into what goes on in these medical malpractice cases and accident cases and wrongful death cases here in New York. You know, I realize you're watching this video because you likely have questions or concerns about your own particular matter. Well, if your matter did happen here in New York and you're thinking about bringing a lawsuit, but you have questions that need answers first, what I invite you to do is pick up the phone and call me. I can answer your legal questions. You know, I do this every single day and I'd love to chat with you. You can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at Gerry, Gerry, at oginski-law.com. That's it for today's video. I'm Gerry Oginski. Have a wonderful day.